Xiaomi or Redmi is known to mess up the names, the lineups, and confusing the end users. From giving different names in different countries for the same device to pricing a phone cheaper than its predecessor, Redmi has done it all. But one thing's always stayed constant. They all offer very good value for your money, if not the best value for your money. Whether the Redmi Note 9 Pro falls under that category or not is what I'm gonna talk about in this video. My name is Ashwin Sundar. This is Technology Jog. Please don't subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon right now. Do it after the video ends. Let's get started. Now, despite the fact that the Note series now gets an upgrade every 5 to 6 months, Redmi still doesn't avoid refreshing the design and build. The Note 9 Pro is one of the best looking phones in the segment. Not really a fan of this new camera module, but overall it's fine. I really like how the back panel looks. It's kind of clean and minimalistic, although it's a fingerprint magnet. Not been a problem personally because I always use a case. The body also uses a plastic frame, but for 3 generations in a row, Xiaomi has gone for a Gorilla Glass 5 back and front, which is commendable. No other phone in this segment does that. The one big problem I have with the build is the weight and size. I mean, a lot of people like huge phones, so I'm not going to consider it as a problem. But the fact that it's really heavy, almost 210 grams, is not something I'm okay with. Phones should not weigh more than 200 grams, no matter what. I'm not even kidding, guys. It actually causes mild pain over here for me. Not just this phone, even the OnePlus 7 Pro and Poco X2 were a bit too heavy for my taste. Brands don't care about thickness these days and it's fine, but I feel weight is something they should start focusing on going forward. Also, just like the previous Redmi Note phones, this one is also splash proof. It doesn't have an official IP rating though, and either way I would suggest you be careful with the phone because even a bit of water entering the headphone jack or the Type-C port will cause permanent damage which will not be covered under warranty. Moving on, one of the reasons why the back looks very clean is because the fingerprint scanner has been moved to the side, which is something I'm completely okay with. In fact, I really like this position. It's really comfortable. I felt the same while using the Poco X2 as well. By the way, Poco X2 long-term review is coming very soon. Anyway, here on the Note 9 Pro, in some cases, the fingerprint scanner takes too much time to unlock. It seems like a software issue, so they can probably fix it. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't recognize my fingerprint at all. I don't know if it's just my unit or actually if any Note 9 Pro user is watching this, please let everyone else know in the comment section if you've been facing the same. Now, similarly, the notch has also been removed, so the front looks better now. We get a punch hole selfie camera, and yes, the Note 9 Pro retains the notification LED, which is a big deal these days, given the lack of room at the top to make way for huge screens. Particularly on the Note 9 Pro, we can see a really huge one. It's a 6.67-inch IPS LCD display with full HD plus resolution and 60Hz refresh rate, which is completely fine for the price, but it's worth pointing out that the main competitor, the Realme 6, has a 90Hz panel. Also, in the full comparison between these phones, I showed you the Note 9 Pro's poor HDR video playback on YouTube, but Redmi released an update last week and fixed the issue. The videos look really good now. The display quality is great for the price, nothing much to complain about. I've been rewatching Sons of Anarchy mostly on the phone and the whole media experience is quite good. The loudspeaker is reasonably loud and the clarity is great. I noticed zero distortion even at full volume. I also used earphones at times and the audio was again quite good. I mean, it depends on what earphones you're using, obviously, but the jack doesn't have a problem handling good earphones is what I'm trying to say. And the same goes to Bluetooth performance. I've been using my Sony headphones regularly these days, had absolutely no issues. The audio via the earpiece is also excellent. I mean, these are all things that the Note 8 Pro nailed. And they are no different on this one. The great call quality, the presence of an IR blaster to use your phone as a remote for appliances, the quality of these buttons, they're all perfect. Even on some high-end phones, you can notice these buttons wobbling, but nothing like that happens here. They are very rigid and tactile. And for location-related tasks, the Note 9 Pro has the latest Navic system. It's India's own navigation system, which is supposedly even more accurate than GPS. Forget budget phones, even most of the high-end phones don't have it right now. The phone also retains the micro SD card slot along with 2 SIM slots, and by the way, Sons of Anarchy is actually on my home server, so it was all high quality 1080p episodes streamed to the phone directly, and there was no hiccups thanks to the amazing Wi-Fi performance. The reception is excellent. Even one floor away from the router, the Note 9 Pro manages to retain most of the bandwidth, even while other devices actively use Wi-Fi simultaneously. That's something I demonstrated in the speed test between the Realme 6 and the Note 9 Pro. The download speeds were much better on the latter. Speaking of speed, the chip is one of the 2 reasons why the Note 9 Pro costs less than the Note 8 Pro. It's the Snapdragon 720G SoC. The one on the Note 8 Pro is the Helio G90T. Now, I'm not sure if Redmi paid more for the 720G chip than they did for the G90T, but what I can say for sure is the 720G hasn't been up to the mark in my usage. Don't get me wrong, it's perfectly fine for all the basic things you do on the phone, like browsing, using social media, streaming on apps like Netflix and YouTube, and even the camera experience is quite good. It's smooth and snappy. There is no noticeable shutter lag or anything. Switching between different modes is totally fine, but if you're a gamer, especially a PUBG gamer, that's when you're gonna start noticing issues. Actually, Call of Duty was fine, and I've also been playing a bunch of other games during lockdown, kinda addicted to them. Those were also perfectly fine. The gameplay was quite smooth, but PUBG particularly, the gameplay was not perfect. It was actually terrible a few weeks back. Now after a couple of updates, it's okay. Not ideal, but okay. Remember, the Note 9 Pro supports PUBG gameplay only up to 40 FPS, while the Note 8 Pro supports up to 60 FPS. That's a big deal. You can install GFX tool on the Note 9 Pro to get 60 FPS, but obviously the gameplay takes a hit. So yeah, perfect for normal use, but not the best when it comes to intensive tasks like PUBG gaming or video editing. And the RAM management has also been just okay. It struggles to keep apps and games open in the background in spite of disabling all sorts of battery saving modes and settings. And reason number 2 why the Note 9 Pro is cheaper, it uses an inferior camera sensor. It's a 48 megapixel sensor that's about half an inch in size, whereas the Note 8 Pro has a bigger sensor with more pixels, 64 megapixels to be precise. But how about the end user experience? How good are those cameras in real life? Well, this is hands down the best video camera under 15 or 20,000 rupees. 4K videos have a ton of detail, the colors are reasonably accurate, the dynamic range is quite good. Even in challenging scenes, the quality is more than decent. Of course, if you want stabilization, you need to switch to 1080p. It's super stable. Probably the best I've seen in this price range. It also has a bunch of slow motion options, including 1080p at 120 FPS and 720p at 960 FPS. Yes, it's interpolated, but it looks quite good in most cases. The Note 9 Pro is also capable of shooting macro videos. You could go really close to the subject for shots like this. The phone has a dedicated 5 megapixel macro camera. The icing on the cake is the new Pro mode. This is the first phone in this price segment to feature it. I know if you're a beginner, it won't fascinate you much, but I made a complete beginner-friendly tutorial on how to use the Pro mode and how to get the best shots in some difficult scenarios. Do watch it. You can have a lot of fun with the Pro mode. However, when it comes to still images, the Note 9 Pro kinda takes a step back. Some images turn out oversaturated, many images turn out overexposed, as in images are a bit too bright. This has been a problem on Redmi phones for years and they just don't seem to care about it. On the other hand, the Realme 6, which costs exactly the same, has gone through a whole lot of improvements in the camera department and offers an amazing shooting experience overall. Actually, go ahead, watch the camera comparison between the two phones if you're interested. But under low light, especially when you use the night mode, the Note 9 Pro gets some amazing shots. Very low noise levels even in super dark conditions. That's amazing. Moving on, the other cameras are quite good, especially the macro camera, which has been upgraded from 2 megapixels to 5. It's way more usable now. The 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera also does a good job, good detail levels and colors, and performs reasonably well under low light. So overall, while I wouldn't recommend this phone solely for camera performance, it does have its own set of advantages like the pro video mode and decent macro performance. This powerful video camera is backed up very well by the 5020 mAh battery, the highest ever on a Redmi Note phone. And it holds up just as advertised, 2 days guaranteed on light to medium usage. On medium to heavy usage, which was kind of my usage mostly, the phone lasted till the evening of day 2 or even till the afternoon of day 2 in some cases, because like I said, I've been playing a lot of games. In fact, I'm working on a game video that's coming soon, so stay tuned for that. So basically in those cases, I had to end up charging it before going to bed on the second day. And charging takes forever. Even with the 18 watts fast charging adapter, it takes over 2 hours to charge from 0 to 100. So after a while, I would just put it on charge every night. If you're somebody who would be okay with using battery saving modes from time to time, then it shouldn't be an issue, because MIUI 11 has some good options for that in settings. Not just that, there are a ton of tips, tricks and hidden features you need to know to get the most out of this phone. I actually made another dedicated video for that, check it out. But yeah, there are a bunch of issues with the software, some of which have been acknowledged by Xiaomi but haven't been fixed yet. The most irritating of all is the kind of filthy videos you see when you swipe up on the home screen. Now stop saying it can be disabled. Why should we get such filthy stuff in the first place? And when I recorded it, I wasn't even logged into my Google account or Xiaomi account. It was just brand new. I had just set up the phone. I was talking to a YouTuber friend recently. He said he gave the phone to his daughter and she accidentally came across those things and got panicked. If it's happening to a YouTuber who knows it can be disabled, it will most definitely happen to a lot of other people as well. So even if you're a fan, stop justifying. See, you know me, I like Xiaomi phones, but if there is something wrong with it, it is my job to let you guys know about it. So what's wrong is wrong. It needs to be fixed as early as possible. Now, this one's the latest MIUI 11 based on Android 9. Of course, MIUI 12 is already here, but that's on beta. So that's pretty much it. The conclusion is not complicated. The Note 9 Pro is a good phone for 14,000 rupees, but just good is not what we usually expect from a Redmi Note phone. And considering it pushes a slew of ads and those filthy, ugly content recommendations, and considering it doesn't have the best camera performance for the price or good gaming performance, I think you should consider the Realme 6, which is also 14,000 rupees. The Galaxy M31 is another option you can consider. But then if you want decent performance, plus excellent battery life, plus a great video camera, plus a good looking phone, plus great developer support for custom ROMs and other mods, then the Note 9 Pro fits your bill. Now, time to subscribe and hit the bell icon. So that's it. Comment your thoughts below. Did you also expect better from the Note 9 Pro? Or any doubts or queries, let me know. I'm here to answer. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.